Okay guys, so your arena surface is incredibly important. It kills me when I see people that want to do well in show jumping, but they jump in their horses on a bad surface. I literally cringe when I see people jumping horses they spend a lot of money on, or young horses with loads of potential on a bad surface. It's literally the quickest way to damage your horse's legs and shorten his career. Okay, so how do you know if your footing is good enough? Firstly, if you're riding in an arena that was built by professionals that are reputable, it's fiber or a synthetic surface, and it's raked and watered regularly, it's almost certainly good enough to jump on. However, if you are jumping on an old school or home built arena, there are a few minimum requirements you need to make sure are in place. So firstly, and most importantly, is how much sand do you have in it? Most commonly arenas don't have enough sand in it. And it needs to be between 3 to 4 inches or 7 to 10 centimeters thick or deep. And the sand needs to be spread evenly throughout your arena. You can't have deep patches and then thin areas, because that also causes injuries. So how do you check how deep your arena sand is? Well, firstly, you need a little pole like this. And then you need to mark it off at the 3-inch or the 7 centimeter mark with some tape. And then you simply walk around your arena, poking it into the sand to see how deep the sand is. And you go throughout the whole arena, you do your whole arena. Remember, if you don't have enough sand in your arena, it is always cheaper to top your arena up with sand from time to time than it would be to continually treat injuries. And if you have too much sand in your arena, you can always take some out and put it in another place it can be used, like for example your lunging arena. Or what you could do is just put it one side, and when your arena needs to be topped up again, you just use that sand to top it up. Now, if once you have raked your arena surface nice and smooth, a bit like this, and you still have thick areas and thin areas, that means the base of your arena is not smooth. Now remember, as I previously mentioned, thick and thin areas in your arena are a common cause of injury. So this is really problematic. Now, to remedy this, you need to take your sand out of your arena, and then you scrape your base of your arena really smooth with a JCB or something like that. Then you need to really compact it with a heavy roller or something along those lines, so it's absolutely smooth and rock hard. And then you return your sand and spread it evenly throughout your arena. Now this might sound like a huge undertaking, but if it is smooth and very well compacted, it will last a lifetime. And once again, the alternative is never-ending vet spills and injuries. So the next thing you need to make sure of is that your arena is always well watered. Wet sand provides way more cushioning than dry sand does. Wet sand binds together, which increases the amount of cushioning, while dry sand will disperse when the horse's hoof lands in it, and your horse gets really close to the base of your arena, which drastically increases the amount of shock going up his legs. So make sure your arena is always well watered. Makes a big difference. And there'll be a lot less dust, which is a happy byproduct. Right, so the next thing to cross off your list is to make sure that your arena is raked at least once a week. It's super important to have your sand spread evenly throughout your arena. I also like to hand rake in front and behind my jumps before I jump. This makes sure that there's enough cushioning when your horse lands and takes off over a jump. So you've probably noticed that when a jump has been jumped several times, there are little depressions on the landing and takeoff zones, which means that the sand is too thin in those high impact zones. So by hand raking in front and behind the jumps, you're just basically returning the sand to its original place so that there's sufficient cushioning in those high impact zones. So make sure your arena is raked once a week at least, and if you're feeling diligent, rake in front and behind of your jumps before you jump. Now these are the bare essentials. There are obviously much better options, but for these you need to get in touch with an arena specialist, who obviously comes highly recommended. They will provide you with an arena surface that is far more advanced than a plain sand arena. They're better to ride on, as well as being kinder to your horse's legs. And another thing to remember is that by installing the best arena you can afford, you will not only be adding value to your property, but will also make your yard way more attractive to potential clients.